got the fam, I got the keys, I get to work. I am the man, you know what I'm saying, so leave it to me, cause I get it first, yeah. Woo. I've been going all day, man, same plan, can't change that. Till I'm riding around, whole squad sitting back, chilling in the Maybach. Yeah, only as deep as your roots go. I don't do corny like fructose. If you got the drama, that's word of my mama, I'll cover you up like a tombstone. I was last in my past, now you see I'm the one. They say work, never work, if you work and it's fun. We on a winning team, on top where you find us. We can do anything, non-stop till our time's up. We on a winning team, on top where you find us. We can do anything, non-stop till our time's up. We can do, we coming up from the dirt, they trying to get us to fall, I don't even gotta flex now, boy, it's only win by the fall, taking off with the ring, ain't nothing left, man, we the kings, ran with the team, ran with the dream, ran with the one fan in the seats, I pay my dues, take the receipt, looking at you already peaked, way back then, you can't follow with my tracks, man. I was last in my past, now you see I'm the one, they say work, never work, if you work and it's fun, we on a winning team, on top where you find us, we can do anything, non-stop till our time's up, we on a winning team, on top where you find us, we can do anything, non-stop till our time's up.
We got big time problems with that motor, buddy. Hey, just between you and me, the idea is to avoid the other cars. Congratulations! You just set the sport back 30 years with that move. That move will put you in the Hall of Shame. You keep doing stuff like that and we're gonna lose our sponsor. Looks like that's it for us today. Now I know why you got canned by your old team. It's over. We can't fix that damage. Your car is toast. You'll need a tow back to pit lane, press and hold your reset button and we'll come and get you.
One round down, two more to go in a playoff race that continues to tighten up as we welcome you to the round of 8 in the LWRC NASCAR Cup Series from the virtual Kansas Speedway in America's Heartland. Glad to have you join us as we kick off our live coverage where, along with Francisco Bacalao in the booth, we'll be here shortly. My name is Kenneth Bueno. And Francisco, well, not here at the moment, going to be here very shortly, but we've got the round of 12 now behind us. And now it's cut down to just 8 drivers starting tonight where things will get all the more closer in that championship battle. And meanwhile, we're going to look at that playoff grid, see exactly which drivers are still contending for an LWRC NASCAR Cup Series championship. We had the round of 12 with 12 drivers, had to cut down 4 drivers in the process. Had the round of 8, brought all those 8 drivers there. We cut a handful of drivers, including Eli Quinn, Brianna Lavin, Jaden Lawson, and Blaze McKinney. Those were the 4 that got cut out of the round of 12. The round of 8 stands with Dylan Basin, Cole Williams, Parker White, Aiden Kirker, Michael Kenner, Kobe Wells, Brady Weileman, and Josh Duke. That is the round of 8. Of course, the order is not necessarily exactly correct, but this will be fixed. But those still are the 8 drivers that are contending over the 3 races: Kansas, Phoenix, and Bristol, respectively. Dylan Basin, Cole Williams, and Parker White picked up wins to advance into this round from the round of 12. The other 5 made their way in through the points, but now is another opportunity to pick up a win and keep your focus on the championship at Homestead. Would be certain if a driver or a playoff driver could get a win tonight or today that could advance them to the Homestead Racing, the championship 4, without having to worry about Phoenix or Bristol, respectively, having to go down that ladder in terms of racing all the way through there. And right now, practice is still about going on. Still got the qualifying is underway and still happening. But meanwhile, we're going to take a look at the track info with our KBRN track map with images provided by Google Earth. Take a look all the way from the United States of America. Go straight into the heart of the country, and you'll find the Kansas Speedway, the 1.5 miles located in Kansas City, Kansas. We got progressive banking all the way up to the wall. We'll see drivers locating on each and every lane tonight. We've got 4 turns, and of course has hosted numerous amounts of NASCAR Cup Series, Xfinity Series, and Truck Series coverage along with that. So easily one of the most interesting and also the youngest track on the circuit. Opened in 2001, so still relatively young compared to a lot of the other tracks that we do see on the NASCAR circuit. And so of course we visited this track earlier in this season specifically, but now it's going to be even more challenging with a playoff race at the helm. Drivers are starting to grid, and that means we can take a look at your starting grid. See exactly where your favorite driver and every other driver will be starting from tonight. It'll be on the pole. Aiden Kirker with a 29.777 puts himself on the pole for tonight's action. Right alongside him, Cole Williams, so 2 teammates right there in this first row. Gonna look back, Parker White, Colton Zimmer will file row number 2. White being one of those championship drivers. Colton Zimmer not one of those, but still looking for a win. Kelan, Belsha, Lane Stevens will round out row number 3. 2 of them not playoff drivers, but also drivers who have made their appearances in this series. Brady Weileman, next playoff driver in line, will start tonight from 7th, with Hunter Ellis right along in 8th. Looking back even further, Lavin Duke, one of those playoff drivers, made his way through points. Is going to need a lot to advance into the round of 4. Lawson and Kenner will be row number 6. Patterson Youngerman in row number 7. And that practically sums up all the drivers here for tonight's coverage from the Kansas Speedway. I believe still got one or a couple drivers left to grid onto the track, and we'll see. We'll start to get underway very, very shortly. Gonna take a look at the weather and see exactly what our conditions are for this race specifically. Gonna be in nighttime in the sim, about 65 degrees Fahrenheit, so relatively cool track temp. Got winds to the north at about 0 miles per hour, almost about 1 miles per hour, a little bit going up to the northwest. And still got that wind coming in. No humidity, no fog, partly cloudy in the sky, so it's gonna look relatively clear. Gonna look relatively nice out there under the lights here at Kansas. And now all the drivers gonna start to make their way on to pit road, and we're happy to have you join us, of course. Still got Francisco on his way. He's gonna be here very, very shortly. We'll get this 70 laps here at Kansas. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have seen 60 laps prior in other 1.5 miles. This one just a little bit longer. We possibly could see pit strategy and fuel strategy start to take shape, because that could be something to watch for as we progress through tonight's race. It will be something to watch, as I don't believe these drivers can make it all the way on fuel. I think if we're running about 100%, maybe about 55 to 60 laps on that fuel window for these Cup Series machines. Going to have that to watch for as we progress through today's coverage. Got 2 EO Media Racing drivers on the front row, Aiden Kirker and Cole Williams. Remember, top 3 right now are playoff drivers, and you can tell that they're playoff drivers by looking at their playoff banners. And the orange playoff banner is going to be looking for this all night long. If you want to see which drivers are those playoff drivers, most of them will have this orange banner up top with an LWRC logo and an orange spoiler to supplement with that. So that will be your indication that those drivers are running for the playoffs, that are still in contention. Some of them not running them here tonight. Cole Williams, Michael Kenner among those that do not have that banner, but it is mostly the consensus to have that banner if you're in the playoffs. Kirker and Williams will be the first 2 to lead the field to the green flag, and we are under green from Kansas. Got one already spitting in the back. I believe that was James Youngman. Indeed it is. He is around as we're looking there in that camera down to the back straightaway off turn number 2. First yellow comes out. Might have involved, not sure whether he was the sole car involved. I think maybe Brayson might have had a piece of that. Youngman seems the one that has the most damage. Going to take a look at the replay. This immediately happened on the exit of turn number 2. Oh, and it started with 3 wide all the way up here. There's Jaden Lawson, Josh Duke. I think a little bit further up ahead. Actually, Michael Kenner got loose. Got into the 40. And he goes up the track. That was Michael Kenner who did get loose. On the exit, I saw one more car also down there as well, maybe to avoid. I think that might have been Josh Duke, and indeed it was Josh Duke with a miraculous save to keep his car straight. Actually, Jaden Lawson also had an incident as well. Saw one car down there. That was Patterson. I think he also might have had something there, and well, I'm not sure. Maybe just kind of messing around under yellow. I saw the 76 get loose off turn number 2. An early yellow to set things on lap number 1. We got a couple drivers down pit road, starting with Josh Patterson, so he will make his trip down. A couple other drivers also making their way. I saw James Youngman in there as well. Michael Kenner has made his way. I think they're the only drivers to head down pit road. Just about 3 or 4 drivers, respectively. So not really a start to remember from Kansas. An early yellow to set things. But we should be under the green flag very, very shortly as we progress through today's coverage. And just a reminder, if you want to join the conversation with us up in the KBRN booth, you can do so by using hashtag AskKBRN. You can put your question with that hashtag. You can ask anything you like. We'll be sure to answer it just as soon as you send it. That's hashtag AskKBRN for anything you like. So caution flag number 1 resides at Kenner, Youngman, Josh Duke also involved. A couple of those drivers also recuperated. Not too much damage, at least the most damage was suffered for Youngman, who had to get that front bumper fixed. So luckily, these drivers do have a fast repair to their disposal, so they can use that. Sure enough, I don't believe Youngman pulled the trigger on that fast repair just yet, but actually, no, he did not. So he did get a little bit of damage fixed. Sure doesn't, I don't believe it's affecting his engine performance too much, so maybe he is just holding on to that fast repair for the time being. But I guess while we're under yellow, field will be doubled up. We're going to bring in our race reporter, but I believe we'll try to get that in next time if we do have another yellow to supplement. If you have another yellow further down the road, we will get a word with our in-race reporter. They're going to go with Kelan Belsha, currently riding on the outside of row number 2. But if you did notice, Parker White has taken over second from Cole Williams. So on that start, White had the better line through the bottom side. He was able to get it under Cole Williams in the number 42. So Cole will fall back to 3rd on this, starting right behind his teammate. And we got Francisco now here, finally back. Had a little bit of issues getting back here, but a little bit of technical issues. But now he's here. Francisco, I know you really haven't seen much of this race, but I know your thoughts could be something to add on about what we're going to see here in the playoffs.
Yeah, Kansas playoff action is nothing like we've ever seen before. We've seen in the Cup races and the Xfinity races when they ran here at Kansas, it always ends up being chaotic for the playoff drivers in particular. So we'll see if that translates to this kind of chaos here. Already a caution early on in the race, so we'll see how the rest of this race goes through. And I'm glad to be here. A bit of issues joining, but I'm here now, so let's hopefully have a good race.
And green flag is out at the hands of Aiden Kirker. He takes the green and stamps on the gas pedal, so he will get that early start. Cole Williams, who had second, will now try to take second back from Parker White on the bottom with help from Kelan Belsha in the 18. Remember, all top 3 are playoff drivers. You have to look about to 5th before you get, actually to 6th before you get to Brady Weileman in the number 51 running for a championship. But here comes Cole Williams going to charge on the bottom.
Yeah, 3 of this top 4 are a part of EL Media Racing. You can see them there. Kelan Belsha, Aiden Kirker. We got a spinner in the back.
Lane Stevens is around in the grass. I'm going to take a look. He's actually, I think, he actually alt-F forward, so he's out. Would have caused a yellow, but no yellow on the racetrack as they stay green. Cole Williams now looking 3 wide with Parker White to the outside. He's going to back out, though. Going to try to help his teammate down low, and there's a lot of shuffling a little bit further back.
look at Brianna Lavin working her way up to the 3rd spot. I don't know if she pitted under that caution or not. I was not here at the time, but she looks like a rocket right now, passing cars, getting up to this lead, and she's probably going to take it 3 wide. She's looking to the inside of Aiden Kirker.
And that's the thing about these starts when it comes to these high downforce and low horsepower NASCAR Cup Series cars, as they were 3 wide momentarily for the lead. Brianna had to back out of that one on the bottom, and it'll still be side by side as White tries to stay up top to Aiden Kirker in the 39. Look at Brady Weileman cutting through the middle to take over 4th over Cole Williams. They're 3 wide behind at the start-finish line.
Yeah, Cole Williams got into that wall a little bit in turn 4, but we see right back at it to the inside, making it 3 wide, the 3rd position. You see Parker White, Aiden Kirker still side by side for the race lead. Something happened to Brianna Lavin because she must have, there she is now, must have lagged a little bit. But you can see side by side for the first 2 rows, unable to clear each other.
And you can see the extent, just how they're scouring about this racetrack. Remember, progressive banking, so over the course of the run, we will see drivers scoop up to the high side, try to work all the way up to the wall like we're seeing with Parker White and Brady Weileman and Brianna Lavin also. So we're seeing drivers being able to use every line they can, as Kirker looks for the slide job, Parker looks for the crossover, and they're still side by side for the race lead, but Kirker has it momentarily.
That was a good slide job by Aiden Kirker, but here comes Parker White. He's going to try one of his own, but he's sticking to the bottom, and he's going to take the lead. But here he comes, Aiden Kirker. He's going to do the crossover now, so that's all what Kansas is about, trying to get clear and prevent the crossover. These guys are unable to do that. Aiden Kirker will clear Parker White, entering turn 1 for the lead. But here comes Parker again.
Parker once again trying to stick to that race lead, but that crossover is just too strong. I think he doesn't have it this time, but the 39 is still going to try it. So back down to the bottom. They've been trading hands for the past couple laps. He's going to do another slide job. Could we see another crossover? It's still yet to be determined. But for now, Kirker retains the lead on lap number 11, so he'll hold first. Parker will still be second. They're fighting for 3rd behind, but as we go into this run, Francisco, obviously the tires will start to wear at some point. You won't really be able to use that white line, go all the way to the bottom like you may want to, like Cole Williams, Brianna Lavin, and a lot of other drivers are doing early in this run. But as you start to develop what could be the key in terms of holding on to your race car and not getting freight trained by a lot of the drivers behind, especially if you're a playoff driver.
Yeah, right now you actually see that trend starting to happen. Everyone's trying to get single file up to the top to run there in the corners, so tires are already wearing, and these guys are trying to, they've had some intense racing. I think they're just trying to get single filed, and if you look, the entire field is basically bunched up for the most part. These lead lap cars, as a squeeze there by Cole Williams on Brianna Lavin to get in line, but these guys, the top 9 or so, they're all single file with the exception of that 02. I believe that's Josh Patterson. Brianna Lavin's into the wall.
Oh, Brianna Lavin got a piece of that wall. That was from the move that Josh Patterson made on the bottom. Remember, Patterson did pit on that last yellow, or at least the first yellow of the evening, so he did get fresher tires, but it wasn't really too much of a benefit for him all that much, since it wasn't really in a long run. We only went 1 lap under the green flag, so that 02 does not really have too much to work off of in terms of advantage into the other drivers. Here comes Parker White once again for a slide job. I don't think he has enough room. We'll see if he does. I don't think he does, so Kirker will hold on to the outside. Still even for the race lead as Williams tries to lurk in a 3rd, and top 4 are now occupied by playoff drivers.
Cole Williams to the bottom of the racetrack. He clipped that white line just a little bit. You saw he got a little bit scrolled up there, so Parker White will get back by him. Here comes Josh Patterson. Remember, you did mention he did come down pit road, even though it's about a 3-lap tire difference potentially, but it's a tire difference nonetheless at a crucial stage. So right now, look out for that 02.
And we'll definitely see the tires and the difference in tires start to make up. I'm sure these drivers will need to pit before the end of this race and before everything is said and done. So we will see drivers head on pit road that only they can go all the way on fuel. So they will have to get a splash in, also get some tires, because that is much needed at a track like this. And we see it so many times, Francisco, especially in this iRacing, at least in this iRacing platform in 2020. Just the way these tracks handle places like Kansas, places like Texas, places like Homestead, Miami, so many of these 1.5 milers where you get fresh tires and all of a sudden you can pounce and you have all the grip in the world compared to the drivers that maybe or so could be on a 25, 30 lap, even further run.
Yeah, I have experience with that now, knowing what it's like, the difference between old tires, new tires. So I can definitely confirm that that's the case. When you have new tires and everyone else has old tires, you feel like Superman. You feel like you can go everywhere and you're faster than them. Right now, that 02, he had a bit of a moment off turn 4 a couple laps ago, and he's having another one right now. You can see the smoke coming out. What a great save by Josh Patterson.
Oh, and he's been trying to fight that race car for the past handful of laps. It's not really treating him too well. He's going to fall all the way back to about 9th as Josh Duke tries to find his way around. But, oh man, that 02 is not getting handled well, and not sure whether he's able to save it, but it is not looking good for the 02. It almost looked like he was going to go around, but he stays straight, so no yellow, no harm, no foul. We stay green as that 02 may have another moment here. Oh, goodness. And he's still trying to save it, and he will save it again.
Yeah, this is probably the tires being very hot. We see another one losing it off turn 4, going through the grass. They're still pointing in the right direction. But this is probably a byproduct of some hot tires, because when the tires get overheating, they tend to do this. You'll have no grip in the tires. So it could be that the tires are overheating. He was pushing it real hard. You see him there off turn 2. He's losing it, trying to keep it off that inside wall.
Oh, there he goes. This might be it. And he goes around. Could be the result of a yellow, but he does decide to back out early. So he's out of the racetrack. No yellow. He was struggling with that for about 5 or so laps as he was starting to carve through this field. And if you look back up, Kirker still leads this race. Parker White also in a tandem kind of broke away from the rest of the field, but Cole Williams still hasn't gone yet. He's still not further back enough to consider it just a 2-car breakaway, because that 42 is relatively quick. Kelan Belsha, though, is holding off the driver in the 09, that is Basin Racing's Colton Zimmer. Those two fighting for top 5 at the moment. Those are not playoff drivers, but still looking. I think Parker White might have tagged the wall there, lost a spot to Cole Williams in the process.
We'll have to get a look at that one. We weren't looking at that battle, but I just want to give a quick shout out to Kelan Belsha. He doesn't normally able to finish these races, so he's having a solid run right now in P4. Good job. But you see there, Parker White did get that wall just a little bit, and any loss of momentum, especially at this racetrack, is going to cost you big time on these straightaways. And Cole Williams, you see there, getting the draft, pulls out to the outside, and was able to get by him on that front straightaway. So it's a lot of momentum racing. That's what this package does. You got to not lose momentum. That's how you keep the spots. Parker White sideways in the middle of the turn.
And that was also a testament to the selection in lines from Cole Williams. You'd probably expect that with that 95 being a little bit slower, with the 42 having more momentum with the draft, that he would probably peak low and make a move under him. But since this track is so selective to the high side, since this track really favors the high side over long runs, you saw him go up to the wall and go to his outside to pass it rather than going underneath. So that was a choosing situation for that 42. So now it's Media Racing 1-2, and we have seen this a couple of times throughout this season. I saw it just about 2 weeks ago when we visited Richmond, where it was the opposite way around at the end of that race. Cole Williams took the win. Kirker held on for second. Parker White did settle for third in that event.
Yeah, it seems to be these three that are putting on a show in these playoffs. These three guys are always up there contending for the race wins. You see there Colton Zimmer and Kelan Belsha continuing their battle. As what happened to Aiden Kirker?
Might have tagged the wall. Maybe he lost his momentum from there, but he lost a lot of momentum. He actually has damage to the right front. So that could be something to affect that 39's performance, as he's even further losing momentum to now Colton Zimmer, who just got by Kelan Belsha. I think Brady Weileman also might take a peek at that number 18, and he will, but Kirker will fall through. So we saw White with a mistake to the outside wall, saw Kirker now with even more damage, and now Cole's really the only one without a mistake so far, as Colton Zimmer looks for third.
The risk you run with running the wall is getting into the wall. There's so much more speed and grip up there, especially that little bit of higher you go. We've seen Kyle Larson do this in real life. The higher you get up there, the more grip. You got to find that cushion, and sometimes pushing over that cushion, it leads to getting that wall. And we see damage on these cars. That's going to hurt the performance. But the thing is, you have to run up there. That's where the speed is. You see Aiden Kirker, excuse me. He's still running up there next to that wall because that's where the speed is, as Kelan Belsha had a moment off turn 4.
Zimmer looking for position, tried looking high, did not have enough space, is going to try to look low once again. May not be worthy enough to get by the 39, is still trying to make that slide job work, still yet to be effective for Colton Zimmer. But if you have been tuning into the KBueno Racing Network, if you were here a couple of months back, we did visit this track at in the Bunch Lawn Care Series. We did visit this track in the LWRC NASCAR Cup Series as well, but we were not able to broadcast that race specifically. That was under daytime conditions. But when we saw this under nighttime circumstances at the Bunch Lawn Care Series, you saw this happen often, where drivers are trying to pull on slide jobs, drivers getting into the wall from mistakes, trying to hang up there the most they can. And then we saw that development happen. We saw drivers like Blaze McKinney, Nick Miller having moments off turn 2 where they got into contact when I believe the 87 was trying to make a slide job. It was just a miscommunication from there on out. But we've seen how crucial the racing could be, especially in a playoff scenario, because that Bunch Lawn Care Series race was in the playoffs. So you did see drivers that were facing elimination, drivers that were still running for championships or the championship in this race, as Colton Zimmer finally gets by Aiden Kirker. So moved that 09 into P3. He's been carving through the field.
Yeah, he's methodically made his way up there. He's been very quietly passing a couple cars, so he's up to P3, and it helps when the competitors are making mistakes around you. Right now, Colton Zimmer, one of the few guys who hasn't made a mistake and gotten into the wall. You can see him. He's actually kind of running down these leaders. The leaders are kind of bunching back up just a little bit, this top 4, so it'll be crucial to watch out if he's able to catch up to these guys. So we know Parker White got the wall. He might have a slight bit of damage. We know Aiden Kirker got it. He has a little bit of damage on him as well. So we'll see. If there's no caution, they're going to have to come down pit road. It's a matter of when and what they take, because if someone pulls any strategy to go for the win, we'll have to see if that works out.
Yeah, we could possibly see a strategy that'll split this race into halves. So you probably would see drivers possibly going around lap number 35, maybe even longer, or maybe even shorter in that fact that we'll see drivers go down pit road in that scenario where they'll split the race into halves. They'll go at the halfway mark, and they'll be pretty much good all the way to the end of the race. The question really resides with the tire wear and all the sets that you have. You don't have limited sets in this league specifically, so you have as many tire sets as you want. So you can take 4 tires practically every caution, every lap if you wanted to. So you have that option. You have those options. You have that to choose from. You have that unlimited ability to get fresh rubber underneath you. So we also could see that happen should we get a late yellow, or should anything else happen that could drastically change the way that this race has gone on so far. As you mentioned, Colton Zimmer was carving through to the top 2. He had a faster lap time than the leaders last time by. And right now, as Parker White got into the wall recently, that allows that 09 to peek underneath. So that 09 easily charging to the front.
Yeah, I was about to make that point, but you brought it up. Parker White, about 2 laps ago, got into the wall in the middle of 1 and 2, and you saw Colton Zimmer ate up the gap down the back straightaway. It goes back to that momentum we talk about. But right now, we see we're in the point of a run where you just can't use that inside lane for anything. Colton Zimmer's trying to make a pass with a faster car, because right now in this stage of the race, he is faster than Parker White, but he is just unable to make the pass on the inside. So we'll have to see what goes on here. Cole Williams continuing to lead from Parker White, from Colton Zimmer. So we'll have to see what's going on with these guys and who does what. We'll see if anybody makes a strategy for call for the win, or if they take 4 tires and fuel.
Remember, strategy was the reason Cole Williams advanced into this round of 8. Of course, Aiden Kirker had enough points, so 42 did have enough points to his benefit. So even if they didn't get a win in that first round, Francisco, they still would have made it in. They still would have advanced to the round of 8. They still would have had kind of a selective spot. They would have still had a permanent spot, if you will, quote unquote, on that. But yeah, with that strategy at Richmond, that really propelled that 42 to the victory, gave the 39 second. Those two really worked well together on the strategy, and they beat the dominant car that was there all race long. Parker White had dominated most of that race before that point. They had the late yellow down the stretch, had drivers go down pit road, and then all of a sudden, Williams and Kirker take 2 tires, as to where White takes 4. So then Williams and Kirker shoot up to the front of the field. They hold on, and they win. So it still can be dependent on strategies, regardless if we have this green flag run or not. We will see drivers head down pit road, maybe even try different strategies in some points to put themselves up front, to gain track position. And even if you're not a playoff driver, you're one of those drivers who's just kind of hanging around in this race, you're still looking for a win. There's still motivation to go up to the front of this field at some point, as now we're halfway through this event.
Yeah, you just brought up the non-playoff drivers. I'm looking at Colton Zimmer. He's up to second now. He did get past Parker White. If I'm him, if I have a faster car than Cole Williams right now, which I believe he's actually catching him very steadily, you think about your options here. If you take 4 tires and follow them, maybe the dirty air gets the best of you, but there's no reason why not to try a 2-tire strategy and go for the win. I mean, you have nothing to lose. So if I'm Colton Zimmer, I'm considering 2-tire stops, going a bit long now so that the tires have a little bit less of a disadvantage later on in the run, considering you'll be on just 2. So we'll see what they decide to do down there on his team as we complete the halfway lap.
And also something else arrives in the terms of when do you go down pit road? What time do you decide to head down pit road? Do you save enough at some points? Do you decide to make an overcut? Do you go for the undercut? What kind of strategy are you looking for? But I know that it really changes depending on track position, where you are. If you're a little bit further back, you might want to look at an overcut because that could give you track position, could give you some distance, or maybe even actually the undercut where you can pit earlier, short pit, everyone else pits after you, and then all of a sudden you can inherit the lead, albeit with probably more wear on your tires than ever. But that's still a conversation that's yet to really bring up to the forefront because we haven't seen it happen yet. We haven't seen anyone go down pit road. So far, though, Zimmer has been reeling in that 42. He got by the buffer of Parker White, got by the buffer of Aiden Kirker, who's now past Parker White for 3rd. So White has really fallen off in these longer runs. But Colton Zimmer has been carving his way. He has been shooting his way to the front, and I think right now it's about a second between himself and Williams. I think last time by it was a .878. So that 09, I think that 42 could possibly see that Toyota Camry in the rearview mirror at some point.
Yeah, Colton Zimmer's catching him at about a 10th a lap for the last couple laps. So going back to the strategy that you were talking about on what these guys can do, whether when you want to pit. So I'm a guy who likes to go for the overcut, even though the undercut is definitely fun. You pit early and you just pass cars left and right with the new tires. But I like the overcut for the reason being, if it's a long run to the end and you pit later, you give yourself all that time with newer tires. This week, Brady Weileman, the first couple of the top 10, to come down pit road. We'll see what he does and what that triggers. As you see, Parker White and Aiden Kirker are also on pit road.
Kirker, White, and Weileman are 3 drivers who went down pit road. I think actually Hunter Ellis gets by. Josh Duke has yet to pit. So that will leave these 3 as Kenner goes by, Lawson goes by, albeit Lawson is 1 lap down. But now this really shakes things up. So now Aiden Kirker can get his fast repair. He can get rid of that damage that he had a little bit earlier. That could certainly help his case further on in this race as we're approaching 30 laps to go. White will get the benefit of Kirker, though. I think Kirker may have lasted a little longer down pit road, but now they'll come out together. Weileman will come out last. Those are 3 playoff drivers to watch for as Kenner almost had a moment there and actually almost spinning down the front straightaway. Oh, man, that could have been the yellow. That could have been a wreck. And unfortunately, he keeps it straight. They're running 5th right now as Cole Williams stays on pit road and Colton Zimmer decides the overcut this time.
Yeah, he was catching him, so he's going to try to wait it out a little bit. Hopefully he doesn't lose too much time for his sake, and he'll put on a couple new tires a lap or 2 later and use that to his advantage for the last 30-some-odd laps. But you saw that 14 of Kenner had an incident where he almost lost it, and that was exactly what Weileman and those guys that pitted just a lap ago did not want to see. That would have trapped them a lap down. So they live to fight another day after that save. So let's see what happens when they cycle out. Cole Williams, you see them. They're on the left sides there. The jack is going to drop right here so he can exit pit road. Parker White is now coming off turn 4. So this is actually going to be pretty close.
This is going to be close. And remember, Colton Zimmer has lapped everyone in this field since he's the only one, I believe, not to go down pit road. So we still have yet to see that 09 decide. I think now might be the time, since he was running the high line the entire time. He's going to look to the bottom and start slowing down. He's going to elect to pit in this time. So, and here comes the pass. This is for the lead. Parker White takes over spot from Cole Williams. They got out at the wrong time. 42 didn't have enough time to speed up, but I think he might have enough for second, as White now will most likely take the lead as they unlap themselves this time.
Yep, it definitely looked like Parker White was going to get him one. I saw him in turn 4 while Cole Williams was exiting his pit lane, his pit stall. So Parker White takes the lead, but do remember that Cole Williams did pit a couple laps later as he almost gets the wall turn 2. So it'll take a couple laps for him to build up the heat in the tires, and then he'll be able to mount and charge. Because remember, he was faster than Parker White that last run. But the X factor in all this is Colton Zimmer. Colton Zimmer, I believe that's him on pit road now, so he may come out behind these guys, but he was faster than the 3 of them. So, yeah, there you see they're going by him right now. So he lost a lot of time on pit road.
Zimmer will fall to 4th, maybe even up to 6th if Kelan, Belsha, and Brady Weileman are able to catch up in time. That should be the case, but You see Williams, who pitted a little bit later, just a couple laps after White did. That could also play into saving the tires should this race go green all the way through to the end of lap number 70. Could see that 42 save his tires, save his stuff, or could catch up to the leader in time, get around him, and hold on. Just try to defend the most you can. This track doesn't really have as many grooves to work with, so if you got the outside, that's probably the best place you want to be. That's going to be the place you want to defend the most. And really, unless the driver has fresher tires than you, or if they pull off the slide job correctly, that could really be the only place they could get around you, apart from, I'd say, the straightaways. Unless one driver gets in the wall, that could be a whole different scenario, which we have seen from really the two drivers in this top three. But look at this now. Cole Williams finds his way to the bottom of Parker White. So this is for the race lead with 16 laps to go.
He's going to try the slide job here. You see him. He's driving it into the turn. He's going to slide up the track. Parker White, with a bit of older tires, unable to match that. Cole Williams, the tire-saving god, to the lead.
Williams will hold on to the outside. There's Michael Kenner, who is one lap down, actually trying to unlap himself. He's 10th, as now I think that found the way for Aiden Kirker to slip through, so he'll try to follow that 14 in the draft and try to make his way. They're almost 3 wide. Kirker does take over second, but now the question is, can he catch up to the leader in time? He's got enough room.
Well, this is a big moment right here. Kenner's trying to unlap himself. He's all over the back bumper of Cole Williams. I imagine Cole Williams wants him to get right out from under him. You see there, he's giving him the bottom. Kenner on the newer tires, he was one of the last guys to pit, unlapping himself, not in this battle for the win at the moment. So Cole Williams lets him go there in 3 and 4. He's going to try and use him as draft, try and get to his inside now, but I think he's better off letting him go. He's on the newer tires than these leaders, so you see what that did. These leaders are bunched up now. They're all within a couple car lengths of each other, so we have a battle from here on out.
Top 3 within, I believe, half a second as you look back to Colton Zimmer, who's 8 seconds behind the leader. So it probably will take a yellow for Colton Zimmer, or really anyone further back, to catch up where they can re-rack under that yellow flag. But this is the top 3 that are breaking away. Top 3 that could be the drivers that will fight for a win. All 3 of them being playoff drivers. So if any of them take the checkered flag today, they will advance to the championship 4 at Homestead Miami Speedway. There's Josh Duke, unfortunately going to go a lap down. Could not be a good start for the round of 8 for that number 32. And while we're under the green flag, we already went by halfway, but we'll just give you our race summary presented by Supermix. Currently your leader, Cole Williams in the 42, has led a good chunk of this race so far. He's still holding the lead, but by a slim margin to teammate Aiden Kirker. We've completed 49 laps, actually 48 laps. We've got 22 laps remaining. We've had 6 lead changes, most of those being under the pit cycle, but we have had leads trade hands a couple of times. We've only had 1 caution, which is on lap number 1, only for 3 laps behind the pace car. So it has not been a caution-filled evening. It has been more reliant on these long green flag runs, but I'll tell you, Aiden Kirker is not done just yet. He is right on the back bumper.
Yeah, he's all over the back of his teammate, EMR guys, battling for the win. These guys, it's basically all, how do I best say this? It's one-on-one. They're not going to help each other in any situation right here. One of them knows that what's on the line. It's a spot in the championship round, so they may be teammates. They may not wreck each other for it. I hope not, but they definitely will be fighting a lot harder than normal because this is for the championship. You're not going to cut anybody any slack when it comes to the championship.
That also brings up a good question, Francisco. The way you say it, even teammates fighting for a championship, being aggressive with each other, it also can go back to the point of what are you willing to do for a championship? Even if it comes down to LWRC, even if it's just this league solely, it's a championship nonetheless to add onto your belt, your sim racing career as a league driver. So this definitely does help, and I know these two are on the same team, but that competitive spirit is there between the both of them, and that question does arise. What are you willing to do for a championship? Are you willing to wreck a driver? Are you willing to do whatever it takes, or are you willing to be a little more respectful, be a little more cleaner, and try a different route, a different approach? If you watched the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, you saw, I think one of the drivers, I think it was Ottinger, actually said, I'd wreck my grandma for the win. So or for the championship. So it's an interesting conversation for sure, Francisco.
Yeah, it's one that doesn't get talked about enough, especially when the situation arrives. So we see these two right now, they're 1 and 2. Say both of them make it to the championship race. You see Aiden Kirker sideways but he's able to hang on to that. Parker White might challenge the spot. But going back to what I was saying, put that these two guys end up in the championship race at Homestead and they're both racing each other in the closing laps. You can say you'll do one thing, but you never know exactly what you're going to do until that moment comes. You never know exactly what you're willing to do until you're in that situation, when your heart's pumping, when the pressure's on, when you're sweating, and you just don't know if whatever you got under normal circumstances will be enough. So it'll come down to your head, your heart, and that right foot.
And also, you can't even count on Parker White. Also, he just took over second since Aiden had a little moment. It was very loose in the middle of the corner, so lost a little bit of speed there. Gave that spot to Parker White, but can't even count on that 95 either. He also picked up a win at the Roval last week that cemented his spot into this round of 8. That 95 knows what it's like to be in the height of these playoffs and to be at the championship level. He did not win the championship of the Munch Lawn Care Series, but he knows what it's like to be there with drivers that have immense talent. He went with Nick Miller, Blaze McKinney, and Glenn Bundren. Those were the other drivers in that series last season. He went for the championship there, ultimately came short, but he knows the pressure. He knows what it's like. He knows what he has to do, and that 95 is one of those drivers to watch for. These three, easily, I think like you said earlier in the broadcast, Francisco, these three are easily the strongest ones we've seen that have arisen from these playoffs. Obviously, Parker joined this league a little bit later than, or at least in the midpoint of this season. Kirker and Williams, I believe, have attended practically every race this season. So they have been here since the start of the Daytona 500. That 95, though, has been the opposite. He joined a little bit later, and he has already shown his dominance quickly through this field, has already got a couple of wins to his belt. So these three strong, but it's still not over. This is the first race of the round. There's still 2 more races left. And even then, this race could flip on its head. We could see the top 3 dominated right now with 13 laps to go, and all of a sudden, things could change. And we're seeing the top 3. So top 3 are filled with playoff drivers. You got to look back to 6th place Brady Weileman. He is the next running playoff driver in this field. Then go to 8th at Michael Kenner, who's about to get lapped by the leader. Josh Duke, who's 9th and already 1 lap down. And then final, actually no other playoff drivers to go in. So still in that group.
Yeah, so we're coming up on 10 laps to go here in a little bit. Right now it's 13. Cole Williams coming up on Michael Kenner. He has a 1.5 second lead over Parker White. So right now, Cole Williams has probably saved his tires pretty decently, and he has an advantage over Parker White from that aspect. So I don't think he's really looking to get past that 14 unless he notices the gap begins to decrease, because he's in a good spot. See, they're actually trying to get to the inside, but he's going to stay in line for now. I don't know what else to say. I mean, Cole Williams has been one of these 3 drivers that we've. Oh, there's a good save up there by that 01.
Now it's Hunter Ellis sitting 7th loose on the racetrack. He's one of the multiple Nova Sim Racing cars with some sort of issues, especially with that car getting loose. Saw Josh Patterson earlier with this. Jaden Lawson also with this as well. But right now, Cole is eagerly trying to get around that 14 of Kenner. Remember, this is not just to lap him. This is for points as he gets into contact. The 14's into the outside wall. I'm not sure how he's going to feel about that. I'm not sure whether that lost any time to Parker White, but that contact will definitely not make the driver that 14 happy.
Yeah, that was contact, and I'm sure that neither of these guys are going to be happy, and that definitely lost a good amount of time to the Parker White. As you see Parker White there in the frame, now catching up to the 14 of Michael Kenner. The gap for the lead now is under a second. So Parker White has gained almost half a second off just that incident. You have to wonder, what does that do to the concentration level of the driver, that 42? Does it get to him, and does Parker White catch up to him with 10 laps to go?
We'll just have to see. It's just a matter of time now if Parker White is able to get around. I'm sure he'll get around. Kenner's a yellow is out on the racetrack. It is Jaden Lawson around the number 76 on the back straightaway. I said, Francisco, this race could get flipped on his head with a late yellow. I was correct on that stance, because a late yellow will change everything. And we'll take a replay of what exactly went down with Jaden Lawson. Not sure whether this was just single car or whether he had help. This is running along, I believe, in 10th. He was 10th 3 laps down, and then loose in a 1 and 2. Tried to keep it straight and just could not. That was the cause of the yellow flag.
Yep. This changes everything.
Wow.
Well, just want to make a quick point. We remember how the first restart of this race went, how they were unable to get away from each other. So if that's going to be the case in this restart again, so nothing is given. We see a couple guys stay out there, probably the lap cars, but for the most part, the lead lap cars are in and they will get their service.
Yeah, I believe that cars are getting their service. This is going to be key. Remember, we saw a late race yellow at Richmond, resulted in a 2-tire strategy to give Cole Williams the win. Does anyone pull a risky strategy to try and steal the win away from any one of these drivers? There's still lots of contenders in this group. They're all down pit road getting their service. And we'll just see how the race will work. Zimmer will try to get out first, and Zimmer will be the winner off pit road. So he will take the green flag, and first, Williams will hold on for second, but White, I'm not sure what happened. He falls all the way back to fourth as Kirker takes over third.
I brought it up under the green flag run. Should Colton Zimmer, a non-playoff driver, consider 2 tires? And he just did it now in these caution stops, as the restart will probably be with about 5 or 6 laps to go. So Colton Zimmer read my mind. He decided, I have nothing to lose. Let's go for this win. So I like the call.
Very interesting call from Colton Zimmer to put him into this lead. There's Josh Duke. Those are drivers a lap down. I think they're going to also make their trip down pit road. Hunter Ellis actually does not, but I believe he is a lapped car, or he will be at the end of this line. Could get a wave around this time. Lawson, I believe, got his service, so he's back out. But while we're under the yellow flag, I think it is good to talk to our in-race supporter. That's Kelan Belsha in the number 18. It kind of seems weird to talk to him so late in this race, but really didn't have any yellows to really help with any of that. So we'll bring him in. And Kelan, first of all, welcome to the KBRN booth. You got a copy with us? And Kelan, this is Kenneth Bueno up in the KBRN booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
All right, Kelan. Well, I know it seems a little bit awkward to call you in as an in-race supporter very late in this race with about 5 laps to go, maybe even less if we go to the restart. But just kind of walk us through your race, how the car is really feeling at Kansas. I know a lot of drivers are struggling with loose race cars, having some issues there. Does that seem to be the case with you, or what seems to be outstanding with that race car tonight?
Well, the restarts have been pretty intense to that point, and then once the run starts getting going, yeah, like for a good 20 laps or so, it's really loose. You got to fight that car even on top. Like the closer you get to the wall, the better it'll feel. But it's really hard to contain it. I lost it several times getting off the corner, but thankfully we haven't got the Z's custom diecast so I had a Camry in the wall yet. So hopefully that'll be the case toward the end. It does kind of tighten up toward the end of the run, but now that we're on fresh tires, hopefully these last few laps it'll handle good and we can have a good finish.
Well, I know you're not running for a championship. You're not in the playoffs, but you still certainly are running for wins. You're going to be restarting, I believe, in 6th this time, as I think we're getting the 1 to green here soon. What are you going to try to do? What's going to be the game plan here to try and gain as many positions as you can and possibly steal a win away from these drivers ahead of you?
Well, we probably got to get lucky with some of these guys messing up in front of us, but I think if it's going to be all about holding the bottom. I think if I can get bunched up with Aiden and Cole up here, maybe we can make something happen, but I think that 09's up there on 2 tires, so if he stalls out the entire inside line, I'm not in a good position. But I don't know. We're just gonna follow whatever line has the most momentum. It's like a plate race here on these restarts. You gotta take advantage of whatever line you can, and it's every man for himself right now.
All right, Kelan. Well, we appreciate the time. Thank you for talking with us, and we wish you the best of luck now going into the next restart. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
That's Kelan Belsha, your in-race reporter for tonight's coverage of the LWRC NASCAR Cup Series at Kansas. Well, Francisco, we re-racked the field 1 to green. We're going green this time by. What are your initial thoughts now of what's going to happen within these next laps?
The key for Colton Zimmer is get a good start, but not get too far ahead, because like Kelan said, this is basically like a plate race. The draft is going to be a big tool for these guys to catch up to anybody in front of them. They're going to be double wide, racing each other for every position. See only 2 cars up there on the outside, so we'll see how this goes as the green flag is out. 5 laps to go.
5 to go. Can Colton Zimmer hang on, or will the drivers on 4 tires pounce? It may look like a battle that could hold them up, as Cole Williams may have pressure from Aiden Kirker, has help from Parker White, But here comes a 39, going to try a charge on a turn number 2. They're still side by side, but Zimmer does not have enough of a run.
We'll see going into turn 3. Right now, he is clear, but here come these guys on the outside. Aiden Kirker looking to the right side of that 09 car. The 09 moves up, and he is not able to cover that spot. Cole Williams now it's going to take it 3 wide for the race lead.
3 wide even on the front straightaway. Kirker to the bottom, Cole to the top, Zimmer in the middle. Here comes Brady Weileman to the bottom of the track, underneath everyone, trying to peek for second. They're slide jobbing as they're still 3 wide. Cole splitting through the middle with help from Parker White. 3 wide, fighting for second with 4 to go.
An insane battle for the race lead and potentially the race win. Brady Weileman trying to make that bottom work. You see one of his good friends on the iRacing platform, Parker White. Will they work together to try and steal a win and make the championship round? We'll see. It's not over yet. 3 laps to go.
White, Kirker, Williams up to the high side. Weileman finding his way to the bottom, has been trying to pull a slide job, setting it up, but he does not have the run off the corner. He still needs something to try and get underneath. It can take so long before that outside will start to prevail even further. He may have help from the 14 of Kenner as they're 3 wide a little bit further back. Williams, though, edging with 2 laps to go.
It's still not over with 2 laps to go. Any one of these guys could win. We may have another caution here. We'll never know. But Cole Williams a little bit high on the entry. You can see Brady Weileman is going to edge him here. Michael Kenner on the bottom, side by side for the lead. 3 wide for third. Who's going to get back to the line?
This is unbelievable. Here comes Aiden Kirker, fending 3 wide for second. Could that hold enough for Cole Williams? I'm not sure if it can. They're going to come off turn 4 and take the white flag one more time around from America's Heartland.
Who comes back the race winner? Cole Williams clears for the race lead. You see Aiden Kirker getting a bit squirrely back there. Parker White and Brady Weileman. Brady Weileman with a huge charge on the inside. Side by side for the lead. What does Parker White do?
Parker White's got to try something. Weileman's going to have to try one more time to the bottom to try to slide job that 42. He's going to go all the way up. Almost contact. Williams will hang on, and off of turn number 4, Cole Williams will advance to the championship 4 with a win at Kansas Speedway over Parker White. An unbelievable run to the finish. Wow. Can you believe it?
You gotta love that. Clean racing, they all went for it, and they did not wreck each other for that one. So that is as good as it gets. You see actually the 14 of Michael Kenner showing his displeasure for Cole Williams from that incident that happened just before the caution. So, but that is a great win right there for Cole Williams. That was an insane battle. He deserved that one, and you know, he's in the championship round. That's exactly what he wanted to do. He won Richmond to get into this round, and now he's won at Kansas, and he is a lock into the championship round. So he knows that he's going to be racing for a championship. So that must be pretty big for him. As you see, actually the 14 and him are still going at it. So we'll see what comes out of that one after the race.
The Washington native Cole Williams picks up another win in this season, and this must be one of the more important victories of the season as he locks himself into the round of 4, the championship race at Homestead Miami Speedway. Gonna take a look at your results, and really this is crazy to count since we had so many drivers coming to the finish line together, but it was Cole Williams picking up a win here tonight. Parker White just comes up short right behind him. The 95, another valiant effort by that 95. Brady Weileman will finish in this podium spot, so he does gain points over playoff drivers Michael Kenner and Aiden Kirker. Kelan Belsha, our in-race supporter, will finish 4th, so he did gain a lot on the entrance of that last restart. Michael Kenner will come home in the top 5. Colin Zimmer on that 2-tire strategy will finish 6th. Aiden Kirker 7th, falls all the way back in that final run. Hunter Ellis and the Nova Sim Racing driver will finish 8th. Josh Duke comes home 9th, and Jaden Lawson comes home 6 laps down. And then coming through the rest of our field, Youngerman, Lavin, Patterson, Collins, and Stevens, your 15-car field that'll round out here from Kansas. Going to take a moment to step aside, and when we come back, we'll have the KBRN post-race coverage brought to you by SDC, and we'll have interviews with the top 3 and more as we conclude ourselves in a wild race from Kansas. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. You're watching the LWRC NASCAR Cup Series live on the KBueno Racing Network. Welcome back to the Kansas Speedway, where we kick off our KBRN post-race coverage, brought to you by SDC. And I think we're still taking a little bit of a breather to recuperate from this one, Francisco, because it was wild all the way to the finish, with Cole Williams taking a victory. And we're going to visit him in victory lane, and we'll have the talk with him and see exactly what his feelings are taking a win in that type of fashion. We'll bring him in from victory lane. And Cole, what an unbelievable run to the finish for you. And I know it looked like it was going to be your race for a good chunk of this part of the race, all the way to lap 61 before that late yellow came out. You take 4, you carve through some of the drivers you had to get by, and you win, and you lock yourself into Homestead. Just tell us your thoughts after winning tonight, and what it means to lock yourself now in the championship.
Man, it's a good feeling, man. That was some crazy racing. I was skeptical of it being a night race and track state having no rubber on it. I thought maybe it would just be a single groove top feeder track like normally this track is, but this since the update, this track has been just a wonderful track, especially for me. It's just riding that wall, and you can run against the fence, you can run the white line, can even run the middle at the end. That's what Brady was working, and I thought maybe he was going to get me, or maybe we'd have contact at Parker would win or something, but we raced really hard and it was so much fun. I feel like I might have been the best car in the long runs, able to continue, or probably Colton actually was probably the best car in the long runs. He was catching me fast at the end, but I think he messed up his pit, or I think he made a slip through his box or something because we gained like 6 seconds on him. But I mean, and then I was just worried because I thought, I don't know who Ryan Newman was in this league, but I guess he is, and he was out here just running the top, blocking. I was hoping that I would just wreck him so that his playoff, because I knew he'd probably be out of a faster pair, that he would like lose points, but what goes on comes around. So when I have damage or whatever, you'll be fine. But it was scary, and then I was worried that my right side would be bad, so I just I figured I'm gonna get by this guy, so I put him at the wall. So I mean, it was just fun, and the heart was racing at the end, especially that run. It was like 5 laps, and it felt like forever because I was leading the entire thing. But shout out to Parker, he raced me clean, pushing me. I figured it'd be last time we won here, it was Aiden pushing me on the top, battling Ryan Newman, and then today it was Parker White pushing me past Brady. So it was helped on.
And certainly you probably have the most intel when it comes to knowing how to drive this racetrack, because you guys visited this track a little earlier in the season. Unfortunately, we weren't broadcasting that one, so I really didn't get too much information on that race specifically and how that went over the course of that race. But you come here in the nighttime setting. I just know that the previous race was in the daytime. What seemed to be the biggest difference that really affected this race more than it did in the daytime?
I feel like at night the top was more prevalent earlier. I feel like in the daytime you could almost work the bottom the entire way around. I did a lot of official racing here, and it was a lot of like multi-groove racing. You'd want to run the bottom for certain benefits, but you'd run on the top just for straight up speed. I think the track state was auto-generated. I think this was auto-generated, but this was a very unique auto-generated track where they would have 0%, so there'd be no rubber, and then practice is only 20 minutes. It's not like NASCAR where you have like 3 hours of practice over the weekend. You get rubber all the way down on the track. So you basically started the race at around 10%, and it rubbers up throughout the entire thing. And it just, with the dynamic track, although it's not prime like it used to be like 2018 or around there, but it's still, I feel like it put on a great race. Those first 10 laps, I was actually surprised just how well that bottom would work. I thought maybe the top draft would just pull it right around and end it. And at the end, when you had a little bit of tire wear creeping in at the very end of that run where you can't quite hold it flat out, at least I wasn't quite holding it flat out, but I still was going hard, running, good lap times up there. It was, it actually ended up working out, but it was mainly just, could you keep it off the wall, and could you save that right rear? And most people in the entire race had about the same tires, so I think it was mainly just who could run that wall, like, as we like to call it, Larson line, that entire run basically. Because I mean, after about 10 laps, that's Kansas, it moves right up, and then you got to pull sliders. I know I pulled a couple on Brady. I know I did one on Parker, and some of them would work. Some of them work out, some of them wouldn't, because the banking would just catch you, and your right rear just would give out, and you'd slide down, and that's where you see people going really low on the straightaways. I know Hunter got really loose right in front of me, and Michael, when we were, or my bad, Ryan, when we were, catching up on the lap cars. So it was just I had a lot of fun. I love this track. I think it's one of the best in the service after the most recent seasonal update.
Well, Cole, you walk away here with a win, and not only that, you walk away with a ticket into the championship forum. Before we let you go to celebrate your victory today, you have any sponsors, teams, or just anyone you just like to give a shout out to for this effort?
Yeah, to shout out to KBueno Racing once again for making these awesome paint jobs. That was on Aiden's part, but just having a lot of fun lately running these leagues and having some good runs. Of course, in the NASCAR Cup and Truck Series, and just my guys have we've stuck through a lot, been through a lot. We've become stronger because of it. I just want to shout out my sponsors, Appella Gaming, of course, use Custom Diecast and Stealth Energy. I'm drinking one right now, but sure you get yours at stealthenergy.com. Shout out to Aiden. I know he had a really good run going today. I feel like maybe he couldn't quite be the best car after about 20 laps, and I know he got really loose early on, about 20 laps into that long run that we had, and I kind of just passed him, and then from there it was just bleeding. Then Colton was starting to come up, and then until we pit. So shout out to him. Shout out to Parker once again. Racing clean, pushing me hard, pushing me good. I think he's probably going to be basically a lock now with points, finishing second, and points for leading laps and whatnot. And shout out to Josh Duke for I was making the best of his run. Had some problems early on, and then from there he took the wave around, was going to try to get another caution. He didn't quite get it, so his car was damaged the entire race pretty much. But yeah, and shout out to you guys, of course, for broadcasting this.
Well, Cole, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us, and congratulations on your victory tonight. Best of wishes now going into Phoenix next week.
Appreciate it.
That was Cole Williams, your winner here tonight from Kansas. Going to scoot back to second, where Parker White has caught up with KBRN's own Francisco Bacallao.
Hey, Parker White, Francisco in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
So it was a pretty straightforward race between what we seem to deem up here as the three top drivers for this championship run, you, Cole, and Aiden. So how was the run in the race, you battling them two?
It definitely wasn't easy. Right off the start, I thought the car was going to handle pretty good, but on the long run, that obviously wasn't correct because we were dead sideways going through the corners, like putting the right rate on the wall. Then we tried to short pit it a little, pitting around like lap 40. Then obviously that late race yellow kind of messed it up. But that last like 5 laps from that restart was pretty crazy. I just saw Cole's bumper and just locked right onto it and just tried to push him. So pretty happy to finish out in P2.
Yeah, you bring up that late race restart, which shuffled up the running order. Colton Zimmer took 2 tires, but you said you were behind Cole Williams there for the final couple laps, and we saw Brady Wilderman was up there. At any point, did you think you and him were gonna try and tag team?
If he could have got up on the outside line, then yeah, of course we would. But he just kind of stuck there on the bottom, so I was just gonna push Cole because I know he's a pretty good driver. So yeah, but we would have hooked up if we could have.
So there's 2 more races left in this round. What do you think you and your team need to do to be able to either win your way into the championship round or just do enough to get the points to get there?
Yeah, well, my main focus is just going to be getting my teammate Brady in. I think I can get some pretty consistent finishes, like carrying that momentum that I won in the Roval over in this race definitely helped. So I think I should have a pretty good shot at the championship but we'll see.
Yeah, one last thing. Anyone you want to thank for making this P2 effort possible?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my team, Grass Sim Sport, teammate Brady Weileman, and my sponsors, ELO Media, Bunger Lawn Care, and I think that's just about it.
Thanks for joining us up here in the booth. We wish you luck.
All right, thank you, Francisco.
That's Parker White coming home in his second. Going to kick back to third, where Brady Weileman comes home and actually gets points over some of the other playoff drivers. So we'll bring him in. And Brady, I think it was an amazing run all the way to the finish because you were within the latter half of the top 10 for a good chunk of this evening. You were hanging around there. I know you were hanging around the likes of Kelan Belsha, around I think Colton Zimmer for a short time before he started to carve his way through the field. But ultimately, you survive on this last restart. Not only that you survive, you almost have a shot at the win, and you also do gain points in the playoffs. So just walk us through that final segment, that final couple of laps with you all the way in the bottom trying to take this win.
Yeah, I was like, if there's any way I'm going to have a shot at winning, it's going to be the bottom because on fresh tires, it's where you want to be. I couldn't get any sort of run off the corner though, because the top was just rolling. That's where everyone was at. But I just tried to get that bottom to work, and it ended up giving me a P3 finish, and gives me good points going into the next race.
Certainly those points are going to be crucial because you're still running for a title in this series and you're still on the cusp of even going into this championship 4 and trying to get there. What is going to be this motive for you and that 51 team now that you head to about 2 short tracks? You go to Phoenix next week and then you head on to Bristol to cap off the round. What's going to be the plan going into there?
Well, just trying to survive because the short tracks in iRacing, you just gotta survive. It's all. Yeah, I'm expecting Bristol to be a wreck fest, but Phoenix, it might turn out good for us. I'm expecting to get like a top 10 or top 5 actually, but just trying to survive with them are really good, and saving tires, saving that right rear, that's going to be important too.
All right, ready? Well, you come home with a podium finish in P3. Before we let you go, which people do you got to thank for this effort tonight?
Bodega, McGrath Simsport, and my teammate Parker White.
All right, Brady. Well, of course, congratulations on your podium finish tonight. I know that's going to bring wonders now going into Phoenix and Bristol. Going to give you some headway in terms of the points of the playoffs, and we wish you the best of luck now in the rest of this round. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for the broadcast.
Brady Weileman comes home in the podium spot into 3rd, number 51 Toyota Camry. Now down to 4th, where our in-race supporter has caught up with Francisco on pit road, finishing P4 tonight.
Hey, Kelan, Belsha, Francisco in the booth. You got me?
Hello. Hey.
Yeah, on that last restart, you were in the 6th position. You told us you needed to try and get in the better. Hello?
Is anybody there?
I think we're having a bit of technical difficulties. Is Francisco in the booth? You got me?
Kenneth? Francisco?
We'll try and bring him in again.
Hello?
Kelan, this is Francisco in the KBRN booth. You got me?
Hello?
Kelan.
Hey, I can hear you. I can't hear
Francisco, do you have him muted by any chance? That could be the reason.
No, I don't.
All right, well, all right, I guess I'll just take this one away. Kelan, you were your in-race supporter right before that restart. You really had some thoughts or some reservations about what was really going to happen on that green-white checkered finish, and you had a little bit of doubts of what was going to happen, but you actually gained spots. You go up to P4. Just kind of walk us through your night specifically. I know that you were kind of hanging in the midfield, but just walk us through what your night was so far, and especially that run to the finish in behind the wheel.
Well, we got up there on the start, qualified 5th, got up there. I think I got up to 3rd at one point, and then it started. That 16-1 ratio I was running, it was hard to keep up on the short run, so it got tough in the first 10 laps or so. Fell back to about 7th, but then we started picking off positions again, and ended up getting up there, rode around 4th, 5th, till that run ran out, got really loose, and it got really tight last couple 10 laps. That's when it really started to come alive for me specifically. Then we had to pit stop, got a yellow. Ended up in 4th, like you said. Got a good enough restart and had enough luck go our way to get in the top 5. So, yeah, it was overall an eventful night, but it was good enough to get us in the top 5.
And you made your way to the top 5, and you certainly were practically there to the finish. And now I know I'm not sure whether you're going to be attending for the rest of the season. I'm not sure whether you're going to head over to Phoenix, Bristol, and Homestead, going to try to round out the rest of the season, at least for you. But what if you're going to be there, what seems to be your game plan? What are you going to try to do? Or what's really your motive now that you're not running for the championship, but you're still running for wins?
Oh, we're still going to drive for wins. That's obviously the game plan. Every time you go into a race, you want to get up there, you want to run up front. So that's always going to be our first goal when we go out there to the racetrack. But at the same time, we're going to still try to get Cole. He's now in championship for us. Now our focus is going to shift more towards Aiden and Josh. What can we do to get them over these next 2 races locked in? I think Aiden's in a decent position. Josh, we can still we need to help him out a little bit. He can get up there. Our goal is to get those 3 cars in championship 4, race for a championship, 75% chance, like JGR did last year. So yeah, it's going to be all about helping those teammates, but at the same time, you got to balance that out with my own ambitions to get in victory lane.
All All right, Kelan. Well, before we let you go on this P4 finish, is there anyone you'd just like to thank for tonight's performance?
Yeah, got to thank everybody at Media Racing, my teammates. They all worked hard today, helped me out. Media, Appella Gaming, Selena Drone Company, Z's Custom Diecast, Stealth Energy Drink, and you guys at KBRN for broadcasting and helping us out with our team. Means a lot. And yeah, just thank you.
Well, we certainly appreciate the time, Kelan, and thank you so much for taking this interview with us. So we wish you the best of luck now going into Phoenix, Bristol, and the rest of the way. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Kelan Belsha out of the booth, and he is your P4 finisher here tonight from Kansas. Had a little bit of technical difficulties, but I think Francisco can catch up with 5th place Michael Kenner. It'll be the final interview of our broadcast. So, Francisco, you are down pit road with him.
Hi, Michael Kenner. This is Francisco in the KBRN booth. You got me?
Yes, sir.
So we saw you earlier in the race, and you fell lap down early, but you were able to come back from that, and you were able to finish in the top 5. Right now, as it stands, it looks as though you have that final championship 4 spot. So what do you think you're going to need in these next couple races to be able to keep that spot?
Definitely think a win. Dylan's going to come into either Phoenix or Bristol, and he's going to take the final spot. So either got to pass whoever's ahead of me in points or get a win, but I think a win's crucial next week.
Yeah, I'm looking at the points right now, and you, Aiden, and Kirker are all separated by 6 points of each other. So it's really close for that points position that we know is guaranteed. You had a bit of an incident earlier before that late caution came out with Cole Williams. Could you elaborate what happened there?
Well, I was racing to keep the lead lap position because I'm racing for a championship spot. It's a big setback if I get put a lap down. So I was racing him as hard as I could. Didn't want him to pass me, and then going into 1 before he walled me, he got to my corner panel. I think he tried turning me, and then he just sent me into the wall in the corner.
We appreciate you talking to us. Is there anyone you want to thank for helping this top 5 effort?
Got to thank Nova Sim Racing and Josh Patterson.
No. Well, glad you caught up with us, and we wish you luck going into the next couple races.
Thank you.
That is Michael Kenner, P5 finisher, your final driver in terms of our interviews here from Kansas. And, well, Francisco, it has been a wild night. I think especially all the way to the end, we can easily say that was one of the greatest finishes we've seen this season. A very entertaining finish all the way to the end. But it comes down to this bigger picture of these playoffs. Now that Cole Williams is locked in, there's only 3 spots left to fend for in terms of going for that championship. What does each driver really need to take out of this race? What does each driver really need to pull off now at Phoenix and Bristol in order to secure their spot and join Cole Williams to fight for a championship at Homestead in a couple weeks?
The simple answers is you need to win. We know that winning locks you in, so the best thing anyone can do is go out there and win. Of course, that's easier said than done, especially at a tracks like Phoenix, like Bristol, where it's very driver-centric. You usually the best drivers will perform really good at those tracks instead of it being sort of package dependent like the Kansas Speedway where we saw everybody bunched up for a couple laps. But it should be good nonetheless. We'll see these guys being aggressive as always, trying to solidify a chance in the championship. And I mentioned out of the 3 drivers that are currently in on points, they're separated by 6 points. So if somebody below the cutoff, like Michael mentioned, Dylan Basin, Josh Duke, Kobe Wells, if anybody like that, or even Brady Wildman, if anybody like that comes out to ISM or Bristol, excuse me, I'm stuck in a time machine. Phoenix, if they go into Phoenix and they win, that'll immediately shift those other 3 drivers that are in right now down a spot, and they could very well be separated by less than 10 points for just the final spot. So it'll be interesting, but the best anyone can do to get rid of anything they are worried about is to win the race. If you win the race, you have nothing to worry about.
We'll see just how that's going to work. Going to be very, very important, especially if you get a win to lock yourself into the championship round. If you want to continue watching the rest of this LWRC NASCAR Cup Series, we'll have coverage next week, Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern to cover the LWRC NASCAR Cup Series, race number 2 in the round of 8 from Phoenix Raceway. We'll have our coverage right there on the KBueno Racing Network. Of course, I will be on the call. Not sure who else will join me. I'm pretty sure, Francisco, you'll be alongside as well. But should anything change, we will let you know. And, of course, that wraps things up for our broadcast here from the Kansas Speedway. Congratulations to Cole Williams on a win, cementing himself into the Championship 4. And we surely thank each and every one of you for participating and watching our stream tonight, tuning in. All of you guys make it happen. And the reason we continue to do this each and every week. So from all of us, from everybody at the LWRC NASCAR Cup Series, for Jaden Lawson for putting this league all together, and for all of us on behalf at the KBueno Racing Network, for Charlie Baier, Francisco Bacalao right along me in the booth, my name is Kenneth Bueno, saying good night from Kansas.